I hate night shifts at the hospital. There's something about the way the building feels at night. Empty, cold, and suffocating. I work in the emergency department, so we get all sorts of cases, but it's the quiet ones that always get to me. The ones where you know something's off, but you can't put your finger on it. It was a Tuesday night when it all started. I had just finished admitting a few patients. Nothing too out of the ordinary. But as the clock ticked past midnight, the hospital seemed to come alive in a different way. The usual hum of machines, the soft beeping of monitors, the shuffle of nurses' shoes on the linoleum floors. It all started to feel wrong. I was sitting at the nurses' station, checking through charts, when I heard a soft sound. It was faint at first, like a whispering wind. I glanced up, but no one else was around. The ward was eerily still. Then it came again. This time, more distinct. A voice, almost a hum, coming from one of the rooms. I quickly dismissed it, probably just one of the patients murmuring in their sleep. But when it happened a third time, I couldn't ignore it. The voice was clearer now, like someone was trying to speak but couldn't quite form the words. I stood up and walked down the corridor, my footsteps echoing off the walls. The sound led me to room 307. I knew the patient in there, Mr. Everett. He was an elderly man who'd been admitted 2 days ago after a stroke. His condition was stable, but he hadn't been responsive since he arrived, just lying there staring blankly at the ceiling, occasionally mumbling incoherently. Nothing alarming. But tonight, something was different. The door to his room was slightly ajar, and the soft, unintelligible murmur came from within. I hesitated for a moment, but then pushed it open. The air inside the room felt colder than the rest of the hospital. Mr. Everett lay in his bed, his eyes wide open, but they weren't focused. His mouth was moving, but there were no words. Only the faintest rasping noises, like he was trying to speak through a choking breath. "Mr. Everett," I whispered, stepping closer. The moment I did, he stopped moving. His eyes locked onto mine, and for a split second, I saw something in them that made my stomach churn. An intense, raw panic. I reached for the call button, but before I could press it, the lights flickered. The temperature dropped even further. I could see my breath misting in the air, and I felt a cold dread creeping up my spine. Then I heard it, the sound of footsteps behind me. I spun around, heart hammering in my chest. But there was no one there. The footsteps continued, getting closer, heavier, almost as though someone, or something, was pacing just outside the door. I stood frozen, unsure of what to do. "Mr. Everett?" I tried again, my voice barely a whisper now. His eyes didn't move, but the whispering sound grew louder, more frantic. And then, without warning, the voice, no longer a whisper, spoke, clear and unmistakable. "Help me! Help me!" I froze. It wasn't Mr. Everett's voice. It was something else. Something dark. I backed away, stumbling toward the door. But then, just as I reached for the handle, Mr. Everett's voice, sharp and panicked, cut through the air. "Don't open it! Don't!" Before I could react, the door slammed shut. I screamed, my hands trembling as I tried to turn the handle, but it wouldn't budge. I could hear the breathing on the other side, slow and deliberate. A deep, unnatural sound. Suddenly, I felt a hand on my shoulder. I spun around, my heart leaping into my throat, but there was no one behind me. The room was completely silent now, save for the faint, labored breathing from Mr. Everett. I pressed my ear against the door, straining to hear anything. Then something caught my eye. On the floor in the hallway, a trail of dark, smeared liquid leading back to the stairwell. I took a deep breath and turned, running toward the stairs. But as I passed the nurse's station, I froze. On the monitor, there was a new patient in room 307, a woman. Her name was my name. I stood there dumbfounded, staring at the screen. How could that be possible? My name was on the chart. I clicked the button, trying to access the patient's file, but the screen just flickered. Then the lights went out completely. The hallway plunged into darkness. I fumbled for my flashlight, but it was dead. My pulse was thundering in my ears. I turned around, knowing something wasn't right, but I didn't know what to do or where to go. The footsteps behind me grew louder, closer. "Help me!" I spun around, Mr. Everett's voice but twisted and distorted. And then from the shadows I saw him. Or what used to be him. His body was contorted unnaturally, his limbs bent in ways they shouldn't have been. His mouth was open, but it wasn't a human voice that came out. It was like a mix of dozens of voices, all screaming at once. I wanted to run. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't. The shadow in the doorway moved closer and closer, and just as I thought I was going to be dragged into the darkness, I woke up. I was sitting at the nurse's station again, the clock reading 2 a.m. The lights were on, the machines humming softly, and the hallway was quiet. My hands were clammy, my heart racing. I tried to shake off the lingering feeling, but something was wrong. I glanced at the monitor. Room 307 was empty, but then the chart was updated. A new patient had been admitted. The name, it was mine.